Hello everyone, and since it's almost the end of the year, you know what that means. It's time for the best and worst movies of 2017 lists. Today I am going to do my top 5 worst movies of 2017 instead of a top 10 because I haven't seen that many movies that I thought were that bad, not enough to do a top 10 list. So if I did a top 10 list, 6 through 10 would probably be the okay films, and top 5 would be the bad ones. So I'm just going to keep it at a top 5 instead of just talking about the okay films instead of the bad ones. I'm just going to start with the bad ones. And also keep in mind, I have not seen every single bad movie that came out this year. I try to avoid them as much as I can, so films like The Bye-Bye Man, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, wait, that came out? 50 Shades Darker, any one of those bad movies I mentioned, not going to be on the list. Probably on someone else's list, but not here. And what I'm going to say on both of these lists, best and worst, this is all my opinion. It's not supposed to add any relevance to anything. It's just my opinion, and if you like any of these movies on the list, that's fine. More power to you. It's great if you like these movies. I, however, didn't, and they didn't leave me satisfied after watching it. So, rules out of the way, let's begin. Starting off the list at number 5 was Universal Pictures saying, "Hey Marvel, you did your cinematic universe, let's see if we can do ours and maybe it'll be a success." Oh, didn't work out well, I suppose. The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise. My biggest problem with this movie is it tries to feel like a setup for a cinematic universe rather than entertaining movie on its own. It's very unfocused. It tries to be an action movie, then a silly action movie with comedy that just falls flat. It tries to be a horror movie at one point, and it tries to set up a cinematic universe which this film mostly focuses on, and it just didn't work, and this movie felt all over the place. Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe are great actors, but they're doing their best with this terrible script that they're given. The Mummy is a mess. Coming in at number 4 was a movie I didn't get to review, mostly because I didn't really feel like talking about it. And it's a Stephen King adaptation of a very popular book series, to which I have not read. So when I heard this movie was coming out, I was intrigued. The trailer didn't really impress me that much, but I decided to give it a chance, and oof. The Dark Tower. Yikes. Ooh, what a bad one. Despite a great performance from Idris Elba, who was easily the best part of this movie, and these special effects, okay, the action, okay, everything else, blah. Easily my biggest problem with The Dark Tower, it's rushed. This movie is 95 minutes, which is very surprising, and it's also a huge problem for this movie because this movie's rushed, and it doesn't really have time to build up anything, not really time for world building, not really explaining anything. It just briefly explained to get to the action scene, and nothing really has an impact. The action doesn't really feel exciting because nothing really felt world building, nothing really feels like you learned anything, nothing feels explained. A movie like this should have easily been 2 hours or a TV series, but 90 minutes just making it feel incredibly rushed, barely explaining anything, not enough time for world building. Matthew McConaughey, such a great actor, could be a great choice to play a villain. His character is so uninteresting and don't really know that much about him, and such a waste of talent from such a great actor. Overall, if you want a much better Stephen King adaptation that came out in 2017, watch it. That movie is much, much better than this, much better storytelling. Number 3 was a comedy that looked stupid, but could be stupid fun, right? No. This is a terrible movie. Baywatch is awful. I hated this movie. Got 2 actors that have proven to be funny before, Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron, and yet with the script that they're given, they are surrounding a terrible movie. Dwayne Johnson just spends most of the film calling Zac Efron's nicknames like High School Musicals, like, get it? Because Zac Efron was in High School Musical. Ha! And also, speaking of Zac Efron's character, I really didn't like his character. He was just an idiot D-bag, and I really didn't care if anything good happened to his character. I really didn't, because I spent most of the film hating his character, and I really didn't care if anything good happened to him, to be honest. I hated him. It tries to take itself seriously with this villain that grinds the story to a halt. It takes itself so seriously so much that it just takes away most of the fun and the laughs. If I had any, I barely laughed in this movie. Most of the comedy in this movie is just gross out humor that either overstayed their welcome and jokes that just keep going, and one involving Cher and the second one taking place at a morgue, and just Also, I want to mention one more thing. Some of the worst CGI fire I've ever seen. I hated this movie. Now we get to the top two films this year I gave my lowest rating to. Number 2 was an animated film that came out this year, and bet you know what it is when I said that. I don't know why I watched this movie, just for curiosity or how bad it really is. Just, I don't know why I watched this. The Emoji Movie. Why was this even made? Why? How did this voice cast of talented people agree to do this movie? And I don't know how. This is one of the worst animated films I've ever seen in my life. The animation is mediocre, the jokes were not funny, I did not laugh at all. It's almost an hour and a half, and I was silent. The plot is cliche, the message has been done to death in much better animated films. And speaking of much better animated films, this film is lazy by ripping off Wreck-It Ralph, the Lego Movie, and Inside Out. If you've seen those movies, you've seen the Emoji Movie. How did this get made? How? This film is horrendous. Ugh. And yet, oh, and I also forgot to mention, Patrick Stewart voices piece of crap Emoji. And yet, it's only the number 2 film. What could be number 1? Well, let me tell you. Here we go. Number 1, worst film of the year. Film that I think is worse than the Emoji Movie. A movie I can just never imagine myself watching again from beginning to end. This film was torturous to watch. I would honestly watch the Emoji Movie over this movie any day. In case you're wondering, number 1 is Transformers: The Last Night. Michael Bay. In 2016, I saw 13 Hours, and I was surprised. And after I saw this film, I was like, Michael Bay can make a good movie every once in a while. Maybe he'll continue to be a good filmmaker, show Hollywood and the world that he's still got it. And then it was announced that he was going to make another Transformers movie, and that's when I decided, oh no. The 4th one was horrible. It can't get any worse than this. It just can't. It just can't get any worse than this. By some miracle, Michael Bay somehow did it by making the worst Transformers film yet. How did this happen? Everything in this movie was wrong. Just everything. Mark Wahlberg looks bored. He looks like he doesn't want to do these movies anymore. He looks like he was there for the paycheck. The effects are, again, awful, just like they were in the 4th movie. They look fake once again. And the runtime, this is the 2nd shortest Transformers film it did not help. It felt like it was going on for an eternity, and it was just like, I almost fell asleep 3 times during the climax. I just wish I had the chance to turn this movie off when I had to, but I just couldn't. Just kept going and going and going and going and going. Oh my god, can this movie just end already? And the editing is dreadful. Like, there is a scene where Merlin, a drunk Merlin, played by Stanley Tucci, is talking to Robot, and the jump cuts in that scene just show you that is a sign of how awful this editing is. It's some of the worst editing I've ever seen. And once again, Michael Bay just tries too hard to be funny. 2.5 hours, I did not laugh. There is nothing funny about this movie at all. And the little girl in the film, the trailer used to think, oh, this could be a strong female character. What could she do? She's like, I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna fight them. And later in the film, one of the Autobots like, we'll take you to the front lines, kid. And after that, she does nothing. She was useless. And when they brought her back, I actually forgot she was in this movie. I actually forgot about this character. It was like, why are you in this movie again? And she does nothing. This is not only the worst movie I've seen all year, it's one of the worst movies I've seen in my life. Period. I despised this movie. I despised everything about it. I did not like any of the action. It was, once again, boring and monotonous and repetitive. Ugh. This film is absolutely horrible. Just, Michael Bay said that this is going to be his last Transformers movie. He better stick to those words. It better be. I can never imagine watching another Michael Bay Transformers movie again. I am done with these movies. I'm just done with these stupid Transformers movies. I am done. I mildly enjoyed the first movie, but the rest were terrible. At least the second one had an excuse why it was terrible, because it was written during the writer's strike, and the script felt rushed. That'd be written like 3 to 6 weeks, I think, and I don't know what his excuse is anymore. These movies are still crap. Do not watch Transformers Last Night. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, you are a lucky person. Just avoid this movie. I am done with these movies. As soon as I hear the announcement, better not be, Michael Bay directing the 6th Transformers movie, I might give up on Michael Bay as a filmmaker. I just might. I don't want to see these movies ever again. Ugh. These movies are boring, loud, monotonous, pieces of crap. I can't stand it anymore. And that's it. So happy to get this done. Top 5 worst movies of 2017, in my opinion. So happy to get this list done. And look out for the top 10 best movies of 2017 coming sometime tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about the good movies. So what do you guys think of my picks for the top 5 worst movies of 2017? And also let me know what are your least favorite movies of 2017 are. Top 10, top 5, let me know below. Let me know if you agreed or disagree with my picks, let me know below. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new here. It really means a lot. I'm Jack Bender, and look forward to another movie review.